First episode begins with a flashback, where Frank Castle is teaching his son how to play the guitar. In the present time, Frank remembers those happy moments and feels sad. Then we are shown a scene at a construction site where Frank is chasing a biker gang called Dogs of Hell. He shoots down 2 bikers and then crushes them with his truck. After that, the story moves to Mexico. The last surviving member of Mexican gang reaches Mexico. His friends tell him not to worry, but right at that moment, Frank uses his sniper rifle and eliminates him with a single shot. At an international airport, a man from a criminal group called Anvil is seen trying to escape to New York. His name is Mickey. But Frank catches him in the washroom and, without mercy, eliminates him. After this, Frank burns all his weapons, gear, and the wall where he had once spray-painted a skull symbol. He erases every trace of his past mission. The story then moves 6 months forward. In New York, Frank now works at an old construction site under a fake name, Pete Castiglione. Among the workers, a boy named Donnie Chavez often becomes a target of bullying. Frank notices everything but chooses to stay silent. One worker, Lance, intentionally tries to provoke Frank. At Homeland Security's office, Agent Dinah Madani is introduced. She meets her new partner, Agent Sam Stein. Dinah is upset because she had been transferred from Afghanistan to New York as she was investigating the murder of a local police officer named Ahmad Zubair. Dinah reveals to Sam that Ahmad Zubair was a member of the Afghan National Police and had discovered that some soldiers were secretly involved in heroin trafficking. American soldiers eliminated Ahmad Zubair to cover up their drug trafficking. She instructs Sam to investigate Colonel Schoonover and Frank. Donnie tries to blend in with the other workers. He asks them to join him for drinks. The group eventually agrees, and after drinking heavily, they all end up at a hybrid diner. Lance, one of the workers, talks privately with his friend Paulie about his financial trouble. Lance owes money to a gangster named Russo, who has been threatening him. Paulie suggests to rob a poker game, and Lance agrees. At the diner, Frank is sitting quietly at a table. Lance and Paulie think Frank might have overheard their robbery plan, so they start provoking him, but Frank ignores them and finishes his food calmly. Suddenly, one of Lance's friends has an accident. He falls and breaks his arm. They call for help, and a medic named Curtis arrives. Curtis recognizes Frank, but Frank pretends not to know him and keeps his distance. Later that night, Frank is back at his apartment trying to read a book, but memories and visions of his wife's murder haunt him. Frustrated, Frank heads to a construction site where Lance and his gang are hanging out. Meanwhile, Lance and Paulie decide that Donnie is now a risk because he dropped his ID at the robbery scene. They plan to eliminate Donnie to cover up their crime. Donnie begs for his life, promising to leave town, but they ignore him and beat him badly. They throw him into a shallow pit. Frank arrives there. He takes a hammer and violently beats up Lance and his gang. Frank then destroys the place and throws Lance into the same pit where they had left Donnie. Frank figures out where the stolen money is and rushes there. Meanwhile, Lance's gang is preparing to celebrate. However, Frank arrives before they can begin and takes down everyone with full force. After finishing them off, Frank leaves the scene. Someone has been watching Frank through a camera to identify him.